Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Resistance and how it could maybe see a bit of a comeback this year. If you don't know what Resident Evil Resistance is, I'm going to briefly explain that before we jump into the video, so here we go. So Resident Evil Resistance is a multiplayer asymmetrical game. It came bundled with the Resident Evil 3 remake for free as an extra game, and honestly, it received a lot of kind of positivity. I think even now it still has a pretty dedicated player base to enjoy the game, and I will honestly say as well, it is quite fun. So I'll briefly go over how the game works. Essentially, there is two teams, 4 survivors and 1 mastermind. The survivors are basically tasked with getting through 3 floors of varying tasks. So the first floor, for example, is to find 3 pieces of a key hidden around the arena. The second floor is usually somewhere on the map. There is a security guard zombie that has an access card, and you have to find him, kill him, and then activate all the access points to get open the next door. And the third floor is usually destroying some biocanisters and then finally escaping. You have a timer to do that, but the timer can be increased by completing objectives quickly, taking out enemies on the map, and other things as well. On the flip side, you have the mastermind, which is the gameplay you're seeing in the video. The mastermind is basically tasked with stopping this from happening and stopping the survivors from escaping. Again, same rules apply. Damaging the survivors, killing the survivors decreases their overall time, and if the timer reaches 0, they all die and you win. And obviously, you know, if you escape as a survivor, the survivors win. What's really cool about the masterminds is you can summon in extra enemies and traps and stuff like that to help slow down survivors. You can lock doors, turn off lights, and that, which is really cool. And you can also spawn in unique bioweapons. Just as an example, the gameplay you're seeing, I'm playing as Annette Birkin, and her special bioweapon is William Birkin, who is obviously the main kind of bioweapon enemy in Resident Evil 2. And what's really cool about this is you can actually play as them as well, and they have some pretty unique abilities. They're pretty strong. It takes a decent amount of bullets to take them down, and they really do kind of throw a spanner in the works for survivors. Again, they do vary depending on character you're playing. So Annette has Birkin, Nikolai is a mastermind, and he has Nemesis, which is also pretty strong. Alex Wesker is in this as well, and she controls like a massive plant thing. I do not recall the name. And then there is another one. I don't actually remember the guy's name, but he has the Tyrant, so Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 as well. So yeah, like I said, the game, it did well, and it still has a reasonable amount of players, I would say, especially on PlayStation. I don't know what it's like on other systems, but on PlayStation it seems to be pretty healthy still, I would say. The game was supported for a while after 3's release. There was some post-launch content in the form of cosmetics, an extra map. Jill got added as a survivor, and Nikolai got added as a mastermind, along with a new map. And again, it was supported for a time, but eventually they did stop, which is a shame. But again, people still play it now. There is some issues with the game as it is right now, with certain builds for certain characters and masterminds being pretty overpowered. And since the game doesn't really get updated anymore, they kind of just don't nerf or change things, which can be a bit frustrating. But overall, the game is still fun, I would say. But with the next-gen releases of Resident Evil 3, 2, and 7, the game could potentially see a rise in players, and I just kind of want to go over what that could be. First of all, people returning to Resident Evil 3 Remake with the next-gen upgrades. Obviously, this game is bundled with Resident Evil 3. Just to kind of throw it out there, this game is not getting a next-gen upgrade. It's still the PS4 version of the game. But again, if you buy Resident Evil 3 on PS5, you get it for free alongside that, so you will still have access to the game, and that would open up a lot more new players, especially if you are just a PS5 or a Xbox Series S or X owner, and you want to buy the game, you get this for free, and again, it could bring in more players. And that's not just new players, you know, I think a lot of people will probably return to these games on next gen, just to see how they play. I definitely will. I mean, I play these games still anyway, but going back to 3, 2, and 7 on a PS5 version is going to be pretty interesting to see. And, you know, every time I install this game, it goes, oh, do you want to reinstall it Resistance as well? And, you know, you always get the option to do that. So I do think people will probably come back and play it again, give it another shot, which I think it definitely does deserve. So yeah, it could potentially, whenever these upgrades do release, see a rise in players. Just one thing I want to add, just to clarify again for these next-gen versions of the Resident Evil 7, 2, and 3, is that they've actually officially stated now that no new content is coming to the games, okay? So there's no extra DLC coming out for 3. So no Nemesis Edition or anything like that. It doesn't exist. No more DLC for 7, and then no more for 2. It is strictly a next-gen improvement. It's not adding anything additional. And with the support being ended for Resistance as well, this is probably not getting any content either. But that being said, there's still a lot to go for in this game. There's still a lot you can unlock and earn. Now, personally, with this game, and this even goes for Reverse as well, I understand that you're bundling this game with a mainline release, which is fine. But I do feel like the best way to keep these games healthy is just to release them standalone, even if it's paid, like even if it's like a £10 game. Okay, let's just say that it would bring in more players. If it was free to play, even more players. Like this game, I could see going free to play in the future if they wanted to. Just because of how the game monetizes anyway. Like, they have like a loot box system, which is only slightly pay to win. It does have some pay to win issues, which is kind of annoying. But this game could really benefit from a free to play model or a standalone release. And that goes for Reverse as well, if that ever comes out. But that's essentially it for the video. I just kind of wanted to talk about Resistance and give it a bit more kind of attention, because I really did enjoy this game when it was more populated and when Resident Evil 3 initially came out. Like, I think it was pretty healthy at the time. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't as sweaty as it is now. Like, there are still people that play it all the time. And again, the game must have pay-to-win aspects. If you don't pay, you can still progress and earn things that people who are paying do. So if you play against people that have played it a lot, then you're probably going to have a bit more of a difficult time, which I think the game does suffer with a little bit. It's not a huge, like, it's not a massive difference between a free-to-play and a pay-to-win. But it's essentially time-saving stuff rather than actual pay-to-win. It's just, I guess, pay to get better faster. You know what I mean? So that it does have that issue, as well as the overall kind of builds that are just kind of broken, and they haven't been nerfed since the support stopped. But yeah, you know, that's just an issue with the game not being supported anymore, really. But overall, let me know what you think of Resident Evil Resistance. Will you be jumping into it again when the next-gen versions of 3 release? Are you interested in playing Resistance at all? Would you be interested in seeing a free-to-play model or a standalone model? Do let me know. But yeah, thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like on the video. Leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. And I'll catch you all tomorrow for a brand new video.